What's up, YouTube? What up, Knicks Nation? Welcome to this morning episode of the Knicks Morning Brew. I'm missing a Hector. I thought I had a Phil. Phil was here. Phil, you there?
I apologize. I just flew in from my flight from Oklahoma City, where I was attending the funeral of our beloved New York Knicks. So I'm still in my funeral attire. And yeah, sorry. It was rough.
It's funny because it looks like you could be going to a funeral, but you could also be like that street cop detective that they hire when they're like, Mr. Porto, there's been a murder. And you're like, I'm on the case.
I gotta figure it out. I'm here. Trying to figure
Bro,
out what happened.
Oh my God. Listen, we can have a whole episode. It was funny because you were like, what's the topics for today? Hector hit me up last night. Yo, what are you guys talking about tomorrow? Is there any topic outside of a Tibbs vent session that is needed on this Monday morning? Like, for real?
No, I think we could do that for the next 3 episodes. This week could be one episode of why Thibs needs. Yeah, it could be just Tibbs fired all week long. That's all we need to talk about. It's insane.
Man. Look what Hector said. Phil looking like the Undertaker. Hector, I literally said, bro, if I knew you would dress like that, I would have set it up to have the track been boom just one time. Bring out the RJ jersey with you. Oh, man. Shout out to the chat. What up, Valvez BTW? What up, DSJ? Salute. I think you know this one, Krista Porto. I don't know. I think you might know her.
Yeah. What's up, wifey?
Yeah.
She actually thought I wasn't live on the camera when you were asking where I was. So she was like going to yell down to figure out what I was doing.
You need to get on. Your brother started the show. Bro, listen, I was so happy. Oh, I think I lost you. I was so happy that the Jets didn't play yesterday. And not because of a loss or worried about them losing. Just if they would have lost after what we witnessed with the Knicks, I don't think I would be here this morning, bro. Like, that was the worst showing possible.
Yeah, I was actually like at first excited that the Jets weren't playing so I could fully focus on the Knicks game yesterday. And then by halftime, I was really bummed that I did not have a scapegoat game to watch because it was just like seriously pulling teeth. It was disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
Yeah. I mean, let's jump into it a little bit. Like, I want to start with the fact that, and we will get into the Tibbs portion of this because that's pretty much everything I want to talk about, right? And yeah. I mean, obviously, Knicks universe is the same way. I mean, there's not a tweet right now that everybody's just like, the fact that we're already here, right? We were calling for it last year. The fact that we're already here, and what was it, episode 1 that I said here, and I looked in the camera, Phil, and I said, I will not be spending every episode talking about I want to fire Tibbs. I tried my best to come in here with positive thinking and like, you know what? Let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. And we're right. You know, like it sucks to like want to not talk about it till halfway through the season and have to be talking about it now. Like how many games in? Like, it's insane. Like, it's seriously all night and all day yesterday on my feed, every single Knick fan, Knick influencer, Knick content creator, it was the same thing. All the articles, like, it is time for the Knicks to fire Tibbs. It is time for the Knicks to fire Tibbs. Tibbs in the hot seat. Tibbs' lack of rotation ruins, the game. Like, it was just everybody has the same thought, and so, like, it's one of those things that everyone has opinions. So in the NBA, sometimes you just kind of have to shrug somebody off because you're like, no, I really don't see it that way. But when it's every single person that is a diehard is watching and creating the same content today and tomorrow and last night, that it's all about Tibbs needing to be fired, there's something to it.
Yeah, but to even make it better, not just Knicks creators. I mean, I'm seeing other people show up in chats like, y'all need to get rid of Tibbs. I got people hitting me up on Bleacher Report on my account like, y'all ready to get rid of Tibbs? Like, everybody's calling for it. I mean, we talked about it, Phil, on this last episode. If we're playing games that we're competitive in with teams that should beat us, I'm happy. If we're beating the teams we're supposed to beat, I'm happy. But when you have a team that's literally in tank mode and they score 145 points on us, by the way, that's the second highest in their franchise history of points that they've put up. The last time they did it was 148 or something like that against the Cavs. So here we go again. The Knicks always helping every other team make franchise players in history. 145 points. We scored how much?
Yeah,
and we didn't have 135 points, and we Mr. Defense, and we don't have a defense to beat a team that's tanking. Come on, man.
It's hard because OKC, pieces wise, they're starting to build something nice, but we pretty much just handed them something that we as an organization should be embarrassed about. Like, we pretty much made them look like they are the team that they're trying to get to in 3 years. We made it look like that was them last night. Like, we made them look like they were the team that's ready to win a championship. And it's just pathetic, like absolutely pathetic. Like, everything from the coaching decisions to the after game.
Oh my God, don't even get into the fourth quarter for half of this crap yet, okay? Because
not yet.
Oh my God. Listen, I really thought, Phil, I really thought I'd wake up today and be a little calmer coming into this episode. I was like, man, we should have done this episode yesterday because I was heated. I was fired up.
Yeah.
To know that we're just talking about it, and I already feel it. I already feel like it's boiling over.
Yeah.
This was supposed to be one of those moments, right, where we're like, oh, all the articles are like the Knicks scouting SGA, right? He's so unhappy with the Thunder and looking for a trade possibly. That man scouted us too. And he looked at our team and he said, oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. I'll stay where I'm at. Because now, like you said, we made them feel like they're this contender. Yeah. They looked amazing. Like we were playing some, Team USA. Like it was crazy.
And his value has gone up like this year for sure. But we just made him feel like if he was to come to us, we need him more than anything. And his bag should be even bigger if he comes to New York. Like, if his current team that, like you said, is pretty much in tank mode can destroy us, then, of course, he's going to have to be a savior to come to New York. So he doesn't just want a bag. He's going to want a big old bag, like, to come to New York. Because he realized last night, if I can single-handedly destroy this defense, then I'm going to have a lot of work to do when I get to New York. And I'm going to be worth my weight in gold in order to do that. So we pretty much just stroked the fire even more. If he even had interest, now it's make the Knicks earn it. Like, we showed OKC how much we need him. So we showed their office how much we need him, and that we will sacrifice a ton to get him, even more so than we would have if we wouldn't have gotten destroyed yesterday.
Yeah. Shout out to Eric Wallace in the chat. What up, Wallace? What up,
Eric?
Yeah, and I feel like that probably goes across the board, right? In the league with every player, right? Looking at our team like, oh, they're a mess, right? And they feel like they can be the savior. And every other team looks at it like, oh, we can ask for whatever we want from the Knicks. They need us. They need this player. They need this person, right? And we'll get into the portion of the fact that our players also need to step up when they're out. They're out, right? They're sloppy. But I think that goes back to, again, I don't care. It goes back to the coaching.
Yeah.
You're not going to sit there and tell me the way that team looked yesterday against the Thunder that Tibbs has control of that locker room. There's no way anybody can sit there and be like, yes, he has the heart and soul of this team. He doesn't, bro. He doesn't.
No. And that's the thing is, like, all the coaching decisions that were made yesterday make you go, okay, it doesn't matter how good we are.
Hold on, bro. I went from watching the Knicks game to going outside and rubbing the belly of every single puppy that walked by my house. First of all, if you would have let us all know that was the game plan, bro, I would have been out there rubbing puppies too. All right, what are you doing, DSJ?
Yeah, no, like, honestly, like you were saying, he does not have the team, and he does not have their confidence in him. Like, you can tell. And here's the thing is, like, all of the decisions that were made make you go, okay, what about this team can actually succeed now, because it doesn't matter how many good pieces we have. We saw that he is a bad orchestrator. Like it's like you watch an orchestra. You can have all the greatest musicians, all the greatest pieces, but if they're being directed at the wrong time and in the wrong part of the song, it's going to sound like total garbage. Doesn't matter how good the professionals are that are in those seats. If the orchestrator does not know how to orchestrate, it's going to suck. And that's what we're dealing with. We could have SGA right now, and if we still have that same way of coaching, the same rotations, the same this, the same that, we are still not going to be a great team. So until we figure out, okay, is this guy going to either learn how to orchestrate, or do we get him out of here, because he's proven time and time again that he is not going to be our future. He's not going to be our right now because he's not doing a good job. So we need to start looking for someone who can actually orchestrate the talent that we have so that we can progress to become a competitive team. Because right now we're not.
Yeah, and the thing is, we knew that last year. We were all calling for it last year to fire Tibbs, right? Did any of us throw a party and celebrate when we knew we were still having him this season? No. Did we all do what we normally do as Knicks fans and like, okay, let's see what happens, because we have no choice but to accept it?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, DJ said it. Like, we deserve better, and we're so used to just taking it and just saying, all right, it is what it is. We'll deal with it. But what, 11 games in? 11 games in, and there's clarity. There's full transparency that Tibbs cannot run this team. That's it. We've reached our limit of where we can go.
Yeah. And it's crazy because it's like, it's one of those things where when your back's up against the wall and all you have is the only option available, you kind of make things work in life. You know, you always go, okay, this is what I have. These are the cards I've been dealt, and there's nothing else on the table. But there are good coaches available. There are good coaches out there that could come and actually do something with this team. And instead of looking at our options, we keep on going, we're going to try to fill this cavity that is known as Tibbs and hope it doesn't get agitated. Like, come on. If you look even in our summer league, a lot of the growth from our players came from them in summer league. And it wasn't him running it in summer league, you know? So why not try Yoshimoto in in the real thing? You know, why not move him up to being summer league to actually being, you know, like our coach, or Atkinson's out there, you know, like there's just so many options that are better than what we have. And yet we continue to stay on this stupid, nauseating merry-go-round.
Yeah. Real quick shout out Gideon in the chat. What is good? Foxy, what up, Foxy in the chat? Morning, Jigga and Fabulous Phil. Phil, I'm at that point, bro, just like I am with Fournier, where I told y'all, I'll take the man that sells the peanuts. I'll take the beer dude going up and down the garden to play in Fournier's place. I'm at that point now with Tibbs.
Yeah.
Like, for real, go outside the arena and grab me anybody that sits there and says, hey, you know what? We shouldn't have Evan Fournier. Every single person that says Evan shouldn't play should have a chance to coach this team. Because to me, that's already a better decision than freaking Tibbs makes. Yeah. Okay? I mean, so here, let's look at the stuff. Here's the list of stuff that we've put on to fire Tibbs. Defensive guru? Lies. Stop putting that crap in front of my face. Stop trying to pitch me on that garbage, because it's not true. Let's start with that one, Phil. Defensive guru? Yeah. Defensive guru, yet we can't stop people from shooting three-pointers? We can't stop a tanking team? Please tell me, bro, please, I'm asking you, my little brother, where is he a defensive guru? Chat, you too, where is he a defensive guru? You know what? I'll be back. I'm going to go ask my wife where he's a defensive guru, Phil.
And she don't even need to watch the games.
No.
Like
your wife literally put in the chat, Tibbs is messing up my marriage. Hold on. I saw it in here. Where do I find the petition to fire him? Grandpa Tom is messing with my family now. This man is messing up my little nephews. I know how mad you get when the Knicks lose, bro.
Oh, bro. It's insane. Like, the fact that people, even in Facebook groups, still say, oh, he's this defensive mastermind. I'm like, yo, OKC shot 62.5% against us.
A tanking team.
And almost 55% from 3-point. Like, that is astronomical. Like, that's insane. And the fact that, like, you time and time again can look back at the footage and our team is always running towards somebody or running past somebody because we weren't close enough. Like yesterday, every time whoever Julius was guarding got the ball at the 3-point line, they either shot it because they had more than enough time, or as soon as Julius got there, they already started running this way because he had to run so fast to try to play catch up that was an easy blow by, and they took it straight to the hoop. Our defense is horrible. Like,
but Phil, it's been all season, bro. We cannot stop the perimeter. I mean, even in the games we won, let's not act like we had these amazing wins. Even in the games we won, the teams we were up against can hit threes on us all day long.
Yep. What are we ranked right now? In let's see. Let's just see where we are in the league. Okay, so
defensive guru, get the hell out of here. It's just frustrating, man. Because if I was watching the games and we're playing defense and we're, you know what I mean, like show me something, but it's non-existent. It's just.
We're 22nd out of 30 teams. Do not tell me that we have a defensive guru of a coach when we're 22nd out of 30. There's only 8 teams worse than we are when it comes to defense. So if that's our strong suit with this guy, and we're saying, well, at least he's defensive minded. Okay, if he's 22nd best in what he's a specialist at, then of course we're going to be absolutely horrible in everything else that he's not a specialist at. So let's actually just cut our ties and realize that he's not that great at the one thing he holds on to.
Yeah. So you know what? This is that moment. I know if Hector was here with us this morning, and shout out to our boy Hector. He doing his medical thing this morning. We love you, bro. We miss you. But I know him. If he would have heard what you just said, he would be like, "Oh my God, it's time to hit the panic button."
The self-destruct sequence has been activated. Repeat.
See, I got you, Hector. I know your routine, bro. How about this? I put this one on the list. Stupid decision making. You ready for my best sample? Here's my example for you in the chat on decision making. I didn't know players foul out after 4 fouls. I didn't know that was a new NBA rule. Tibbs. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not stupid decision making. Did you hear that if you have 4 fouls, you fell out of a game now?
Bro, it was. Listen, I know that RJ did not play a great start to a game. You know, just wasn't. That's fine. However, when your player recently scored 30 in the game before, you still take a little bit of a chance and see if he can heat up in the third or fourth quarter.
You're a coach.
Not doing great. You're a coach.
Bro.
Figure out how to bring that back out of RJ.
Thank
you. Sit him. What do you think's going to happen this next game?
Exactly.
Now you're come back with confidence. You think he's going to come back and be like, "Oh, I can be that 30-point shooter again"? Like, no. He's going to come back feeling like he just sat for most of the second half of an NBA game after he just scored 30 and was in all the magazines and all the newspapers' front covers. Now he's on the bench for 2 whole quarters. Like, that is one of the stupidest coaching decisions I have ever seen. Like, you give your player who you're trying to build your team around, you give him opportunities to at least try to come back, especially when you have other people, which we'll talk later because that's a specific point that we have. When you have other people who definitely don't deserve to be there, you do not take RJ out for the whole fourth and 95% of the third quarter. That was
and bro, don't get me wrong, and chat, don't get me wrong. This isn't we're gonna sit here and just say, "Oh, it's unfair. RJ should have been there." RJ played like trash.
No,
point blank, played like trash. But you know what? The whole entire cohesiveness of the team played like trash. Even playing like trash, and we still put up 100-something points. Trash. Okay, we're not taking it and just putting it all on Tibbs and saying that RJ should have been in there the whole time. But that's still our guy. That's still a team that we're trying to build chemistry with. You don't take him out for the entire second half. Now you're messing up his mentals for the next game. Now he's back in his head where we all were talking about it, right? We already felt like RJ hasn't found that groove yet. And then the game before, I didn't get super excited, bro, about the 30-plus points. I mean, it was great, but I also looked at the fact that it was the freaking Pistons, right? Like, let's be real. But it was good to see that, okay, that's going to be that fire, that jolt. And it wasn't. He came out, he looked sloppy, he looked horrible, wasn't doing anything. But you don't sit the freaking guy when that's supposed to be your young core, your staple that you just extended and gave the bag to, and make him sit there the entire time. I'm sorry. Freaking get rid of this damn coach.
And two things about that. Yes, I didn't get super excited, but I also didn't want to like diminish the fact that it was the Pistons because they still have good players. And the next game that the Pistons played, they played the Celtics, and the Celtics only beat them by 1 point less than we did. And the Celtics are a far better team than we are. So the Pistons are starting to try and play hard. So I didn't want to diminish that. However, yes, RJ played bad, and there's a difference between disciplinary action that then produces fruit and then disciplinary action that has absolutely no logic to it. Sit him down, get his mind right, show him what it's like to sit down for a few minutes, say, hey, I still believe you can be that player from last game. Step back out there. Let's give this another go. But you have him sit for the whole, like after 2 minutes of the third, and he doesn't see any playing time for the rest of the game. Like, that is one of the dumbest coaching decisions I've ever seen. Period.
Yeah.
Point blank. Period.
Yeah. I mean, we ask him to try different things. That's not what we mean, Tibbs. Okay. That's not what we mean. Where our guy that's having a bad game, you just sit him the entire second half and you know what? Let's jump into it, because can we talk about who got the playing time? I'll let you cover. I'll let you cover the guy that was in there for the entire fourth. And I mean, he made amazing strides for us. I mean, it was fantastic. Yeah, go ahead.
So this is what I stayed up doing last night, writing all my feelings in this notepad about this point, because this was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Okay. So we are going into the start of the fourth quarter, and we're down 122 to 106. Okay. So we're down 16 points. This is when you have 12 minutes as a coach to figure out how to pull it in and pull it off. So what do? You throw in all of your top defenders and your top scorers. That's what you have to do. You need stops and you need points. Cool. Okay. Evan Fournier gets put into the game for the whole fourth quarter. Okay. Any coach would realize this is a bad decision. You have OKC scoring at will. They think about a point and they get a point. Who do we put in? Our worst defender on the team, Evan Fournier. Okay, some people would say, yeah, but, he could have gotten those buckets. Cool. If Evan Fournier was getting buckets up until that point, I would totally back that. But he was 0 for 5. The only person on our team with a 0% field goal, 0%, like nothing, field goal percentage, and he plays the whole quarter. So let's look at who he played above, okay? Because then he makes a substitution at 7 minutes. And you're like, okay, cool. He's going to bring in the infantry. Like, we're going in. We're going to battle this. We're only down 11 now. We can get back in this, okay? Who stays in? Fournier. Who goes to the bench? Obi Toppin, who has points, who has blocks, who has steals, and Fournier, who has none of those, stays in. Who's on the bench with 17 points? Brunson. All fourth quarter. Are you kidding me? Someone who wasn't playing his elite game, but he was definitely playing better than Fournier's best game, even in that one. He is the kind of player that can go to the basket and get the foul or penetrate to get the points that we need. Instead, he keeps someone who has done nothing offensively or defensively for us instead of Brunson. Hartenstein, who had good points, still on the bench. Obi, good points, still on the bench. And Sims played a good game, but Hartenstein is our scorer. So out of the two of them, Hartenstein is the one that can hit the three and can also get shots in the paint. Hartenstein had a great field goal percentage that game up until that point. Hartenstein, we could say, oh, well, blocks and stuff like that or rebounds. Sims didn't have any blocks that game. Hartenstein only had one less rebound than Sims that game.
Right.
And Sims and Fournier are the ones running. So in 2 minutes more, Hartenstein had more points. Brunson had more points. Even RJ Barrett played a better game than Fournier. And Fournier plays the whole fourth quarter. To me, that is instantaneous justification for firing Tom Thibodeau. Like, instant justification. No logical coach would have kept Evan Fournier in for that fourth quarter, and those people that we call our stars sitting on the bench.
Yeah. Shout out Jay Boogie in the chat. What up, my guy? Salute,
What up,
salute.
Boogie?
Bro, like, yesterday exasperated everything, right? With the Fournier stuff. We've been talking about Fournier shouldn't be on this team forever now, right? We've been talking about how the man came out after the game and said that that group gave the team a jolt. And that's why he kept them in there. 0 points. 0 for 5. He only gave us 2 rebounds, period. So what jolt? Yeah, IQ was looking decent. He was trying to come in and give us a jolt. Great. But what jolt did Fournier provide? That doesn't make any freaking sense to me. Doesn't make any
jolt. The jolt was quickly and Toppin. And after 7 minutes, Toppin went to the bench. When we've seen that the Toppin-Randall combo has worked for us, we went with the Randall-Fournier combination instead for the last 7 minutes of the game when we're trying to make a comeback. Oh, God. Help me. Yeah.
And we can sit here and talk about every article that wants to fire Tibbs. We get that. Everybody, we're all on the same page, right? And I'm sure there's still people out there that are probably like, no, don't fire Tibbs. Whatever. I mean, people buy better liquor than I do, I guess, right? I mean, if I got to keep sitting here watching Tibbs games, bro, it's going to be the Knicks morning brew with a little twist because my cup is going to have a little something in my coffee to be able to handle doing a show week in and week out with this guy at the top. Yeah, look, let me go. The Knicks morning whiskey?
Knicks morning booze. It's going to be the Knicks morning booze. We're going to change brew to brew booze. And that's going to be how we have to handle this season because, yeah, it's insane, man. Like, I would love to actually hear.
What up, New York original? Sorry. Go ahead, bro.
No. I would love to hear someone's actual, like, logical, like, argument to why we should keep him. Like,
yeah, no, I literally just put in the chat. If someone wants to fire Tibbs or wants to defend Tibbs, we said we would do our open panels on Fridays. No, I am open paneling this for the rest of the episode. If you want to come in and you got something to say about Tibbs, if you want to keep him or you want to fire him, I want to hear your reasoning behind either one of them.
Yeah, let us know. We will bring you up. This is a event session. This is like some AA type meeting. Like, let's share our hearts, our thoughts. And continue to build. But what else? What else, CJ? Like, what else, Jiggaman?
Chris Joseph, what up, fam? Your boy SGA torched us. Yeah. The whole team torched us. It was just,
I don't even feel
garbage.
Bad. And saying it for 2 years. 2 years, he should have been a Knick.
Here's other stuff on the list. Horrible rotation management. We just discussed that. I mean, there's no question. Does not have any. So I want to ask you this, bro, and I want to talk about it. I want the chat's opinion too. Do we think that label of defensive genius is because he had a defensive team? We don't have a squad that is made of full defenders. So how can you have a defensive coach if that's what his suit is? He doesn't know how to manage a team that doesn't know how to play defense.
No.
So wouldn't that in itself just be reason enough to be like, hey, what your talent is, we can't use. Yeah. Even if we are going to sit there and still give him it's his talent.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense because we used to hear back in the day growing up when we used to watch the Knicks, that defense wins games. And that used to be so true. But you look at teams now who are doing amazing, and they're not really great defensively. Like, they're just not. That's not their focus. They're full on, like, we are in a scorer's league right now. We are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And in order to beat a scorer's league, we have to defend the way that they're scoring, not thinking the way that Tibbs thinks. So, like I've said before, Tibbs, in an era where everything was crazy defensive and everything was like a grit, like in the paint and clog the paint, stop the paint, he would be a top coach. He would be elite. But if you look, most of our points that are coming against us are not that. Like, and the only time that they are going to the paint is when they fake a three and our team is so clogged in the paint that we have to run out at them that they see that they now have an easy access to the rim. So, yes, it would be great if our team was this elite defensive mastermind, but when you have guys that we look at and go, yeah, they're not really a great defender here. They're not really a great defender there. Julius Randle is absolutely horrible this year on defense. Okay, Cam and RJ are showing the best defense, but they're not really that great. And then we're like, but we got a defensive coach. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
And again, I still put some of it on the players, but you can see that we have no chemistry. You can see that it feels like there's no game plan. When every game we can't protect the perimeter, when every game we have no defense going, I don't want to keep hearing that Tibbs is the defensive genius. He had players and a defensive team when he was that defensive coach.
Yeah.
We can be a defensive team. I'm sorry. You can't sit there and tell me you can't take a group of guys that play NBA ball at the top of the sport, and you can't sit there and tell me they don't know how to play defense. So that has to tell me that your coach is not putting a system in place that makes any sense. And I just want to address, Chris, we talked about this, bro. Makes no freaking sense. There's nothing to justify. We agree with that 100%. There's no reason why Fournier, period, should have been in that. While RJ's sitting, while Brunson's sitting.
It all links. It all links to what you're saying, CJ. So the Fournier thing, the defense thing, the thing where we're going to talk about favoritism, all of that goes together. So if I tell Miles that he can't do something, okay, and then Jonah does the same exact thing, and I'm just like, but it's Jonah, it's okay. It was really cute when he did it. Or vice versa, the other child of mine is going to think that they can get away with that too, because my so-called quote-unquote favorite. You and I did that all the time growing up. We'd be like, oh, Mom, you let CJ get away with that because he's your favorite. Oh, Mom, you let Phil do that because he's your favorite. Like, we always saw the other person getting treated a certain way and thought that we should get that too. So when you see guys like Fournier and Randle, which seem to be like Tibbs's favorites, not play defense, not get sat down, not get any like reprimanding or any like coaching to the things that they are horrible at, it's going to speak volumes to the rest of the team that are younger players that are still developing themselves to be like, oh, well, he gets away with all this greatness and he doesn't play defense. Why am I going to put in that kind of effort? And so when we do see glimpses of defense, it's like a miracle to us to see someone like Cam come in and actually strip a few balls. And we're like, oh, he's the defensive god of the Knicks because he got like 2 stops in a game. And that all comes down from coaching. All comes down from coaching. If you were to say like, okay, RJ sat in that second half because he was poor offensively, he was still showing more heart defensively than Fournier and Randle. Yet Fournier and Randle got minutes. So how can you tell me that you're a defensive-minded coach if your players don't have to play defense and you still show them as your favorites? It's a contradiction.
Yeah. Shout out to Fly God in the chat. VSN Basketball Station was good, my guys. You just literally in that statement there, Phil, you literally covered things on the list. Favoritism, right? Randall's not doing anything when he does it, and then you're going to try to run the offense through Randle. Why do we run into so many times where We're trying to run the ball through Randall. It doesn't make any sense.
No.
The man can do whatever he wants, and when you have Tibbs as the coach, it's okay, and he knows it.
Yeah.
I added inconsistent and stunt growth on there. Would you agree with that? He's inconsistent and he stunts the growth of our players?
Oh, for sure. For sure. Like yesterday, like I said, Obi Toppin was playing well. Him and Quickly are starting to get us points that we were not getting in the third quarter. We see him. We know that Emmanuel Quickly is best on the court when he's side by side with Toppin. So if we're trying to make a push to come back to the game, how do we then sit Toppin and keep Fournier in? Like, you are stunting the growth of both Quickly and Toppin in that moment, because you know that they're heating up, they're starting something, they're going somewhere, and you stop that and try something completely different that has already showed that it's a failure. I don't understand. Like, we have good pieces that on other teams realistically could be great pieces, and I think it's all because of poor coaching that we don't see that. Does that mean that, like, stupid shots, like when Cam would get the ball and he would like straight football pass it to the rim and it would be an absolute horrible three while no one else is even there to get like an offensive rebound? Does he get away with that? No. But like, there's certain things that coach does that actually will stop our team and young players from growing, and will stop vets. The fact that he does play favoritism to Randall is going to stop Randall from becoming a better player, because Randall justifies himself because Tibbs justifies him. So that's where he gets the pissy little attitudes, and he thinks that refs should give him every single call as if he was LeBron James, but he's not. But to Tibbs, he is, so it's just silly.
Foxy in the chat said, based on D Rose's comments about knowing his role, you need to add lack of communication. Exactly. You know what, Foxy, right there, right? No control of locker room. I mean, when your players are coming out making the statements they're doing. I mean, how about this one, guys? How about the fact that our team got booed out of the Garden? Our team yesterday, Sunday, what's supposed to be Sunday freaking fun day, enjoying football, a nice little Knicks game in the afternoon, everything going good, a game in Germany, so you woke up even earlier for it, to sit there and watch that garbage and then have our team be booed out. How is the announcement not done this morning? Phil, how is it not? No, all we're getting is tweets about, well, they're saying that we're going to expect to have a really rough trip on this West Coast trip. We're about to get murdered, and maybe we'll see some changes. Maybe
it sucks, man. Like, so I traveled for a wedding that, like you guys saw, I was in a hotel the other day. Okay. And for me, after a trip, the most comforting thing that I look forward to is coming home, being home, that place that is like where I'm accepted, where I can do, I can win things, I can lose things in life, yet home is my safe place. Okay. Yet to feel like home is not even a safe place anymore, you know that something's wrong. Like, you know that something's wrong. And we as Knicks fans have dealt with a lot, okay? Like, we have dealt with a lot. And to see the whole stadium, not just booing a player like Randall last year when he was ignorant.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was about to say to Chris. Yep.
Yeah, well-deserved. But we're booing our whole team. Like, this is an all-time low for us as Knicks fans to get to that breaking point to go, we're going to boo you in your own home, because that's how we feel as fans. Like, that's what you deserve because that's what you're giving us. And so, like, that's just a whole new low. And if you don't look at, as an organization, if you don't look at your coaching and what's going wrong and try to rethink it after a moment like that, that says a lot about our front office too, and how they give no craps about the actual organization and the fans.
Yeah. And it's funny you said that, because I was going to say the same thing to Chris, right? When you said Knicks fans always be booing, we're a fiery bunch. Yeah, I agree. But this felt like one of those boos that even those of us that weren't at the arena, we were booing along with them. Like everybody in unison. Like I felt like I got the goosies and shit. Like it was like, I was like, what is this feeling? Like my spidey sense kicked in. And I was like, oh, it's the boos from the Garden. And I felt it. Like if I was there, I would have been right there with the boos. 100%. Because we're okay with booing specific players, bad plays, people that come into the Garden from other teams, right? Stupid decisions. Yeah, we never hold back. Whether Knicks, Yankees, Giants, Jets, that's what we do. But this was the shit show is over kind of boo. This was we can't take this. Not just Tibbs, the players as well. We can't take this lack of effort. We can't take this it just seems like we look like crap. Yeah. There's no other way to put it.
You got to look at it from like the standpoint business-wise as well. Okay, so I'm sitting on my couch eating food with my wife and my 2 boys. And it stung and made me furious to watch that game. What about the people that are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to be season pass holders as a Knicks fan? And they're going in and night out to see nothing change and to see their money pretty much get pissed away. And an organization not care. Like I'm here, like thinking about the people that pay $500 a night for a seat, And so think 2 of them. That's $1,000 a night. They're going in to support our Knicks. And does the front office really care, or is the money in the pocket so out of sight, out of mind? Like I felt like that booing was hey, we're furious. Something needs to change now. And I'm hoping that lights a fire under the front office's behind and we kind of see something change. And also makes the team, the players go, okay, we need to start giving 110% every single night. Like we can't come in with these 80% games. We can't come in, like, oh, we're playing OKC. We can let down a little bit. Like, no, you obviously can't. Your team's not good enough for you to like not give 100%. So I hope it lights a fire under both the organization and the team.
Yeah. Let's check out the chat. New York Originals, development of young players is not going to happen on the Tibbs. He can go and he can take Randall with him. Oh my gosh. Yes. And Fournier, take it with him. All right. Let's just go. Make it happen. DSJ, the fact that OKC has beaten the Knicks the past 5 times at MSG should have given this team more incentive to perform better. Agreed. But I'm still going to be a big believer, DSJ, and you can tell me if you disagree. If there's no organization, if there's no chemistry, if you have a coach who's lost control of the locker room, you're going to get exactly what we saw yesterday, and we're going to see that a lot more because it's just like they're just throwing it in. Like, all right, if you don't know, how can the players know? And back to your point, Phil, who loses out the most? The damn fans, the damn people that are spending thousands and thousands of dollars to have those season tickets, to make sure they're at every home game, to the content creators that stay up late and like, man, I got to make graphics and do a show tomorrow morning after that performance. Yep. It's just, it doesn't make any sense to me. I guess I'll ask you, bro, and I'll ask the chat as well, because we can sit here easily like we are. He'll never give us a lack of reasons to fire him. Yeah. But I want to play devil's advocate. Is there anything you could put on the list? Realistically, take a step back, separate ourselves as a Knicks fan. Is there things you can put on a list that says, here's reasons to keep Tibbs? Because I couldn't find any. I didn't even waste time making a graphic. But I want to ask you in the chat, are there reasons to keep Tibbs at all at this point?
No, I think people can make a case for, hey, we're starting to see some rotations that we didn't see last year. And we're starting to see, players get some shine that didn't. And yes, that's true, but it's a matter of it has to happen. Like he knows based off of the fact that he started the season doing the exact same thing that he did last year and it wasn't working, that his back was against the wall. And even it shows that he wasn't doing it out of educated decisions, but I need to do different rotations. So I'm going to just try different things. But there's not really educational like decisions being made. And last night proved that. Just because you're switching rotations doesn't mean you're making wise rotations. Doesn't mean that you're making like the best decisions for the team in the end. So I would say, hell no. There is nothing that makes me go, this guy deserves to be here. This guy has earned his spot to stay. I do not think there's a single thing that someone can honestly, wholeheartedly say that the good outweigh the bad that make him deserving of being the coach of a team in the greatest arena in the country.
Facts. Is this a thing yet? For real? Like, are we on Twitter yet? Hashtagging we deserve better as Knicks fans? Because if we're not, I'm on board with you, DSJ. Like, let's get that going. Okay. Like crazy. Those in the chat real quick. If you haven't yet, make sure to give us a like, subscribe, hit those like buttons right there at the bottom. If you haven't yet, follow at Knicks Brew KOD on Twitter and KOD Media and Phil and me and Project Nerd HQ and all that. And all right, get past the shameless plug and the fake smile and go back to the yes, we deserve better. It doesn't make any sense. I'm right there with you. I think it's time we start doing that. We hashtag the crap out of it. Everybody in the chat, Foxy, no, not a single thing he could put on the list to keep Tibbs. Everybody in the chat, same thing. Chris the Flash, what up, my guy? How you doing, bro? But I saw one in here with the new hire, Ronnie Veach. It's obvious that the front office cares more about being relevant with Tibbs. They know they will be in a conversation at least. Man, I tell you, man, it just, I tried so hard last night, bro. Right? Because I promised everybody when we started this show and you and me and Hector talked, like, I didn't want it to be that it's just a hate kind of podcast day. Right? But after yesterday's showing, how can you not have this kind of show the next morning? How can you not look at the Knicks Wall Podcast, Shaun over there and Julito and all the guys and Cedric, right? There's not a single post right now from those guys and Jay Nicky that every one of them isn't, we need to get rid of Tibbs.
Yeah.
Bro, I want to go to the Garden. Like, no joke. I want to do the P.S. I love you thing. And I just want to show up with like a sign out the front and be like, and then end it with DSJ's we deserve better at the end and just be like, do you know the pain you cause? Flip it. Do you know that it starts with Tibbs? Flip it. Something's got to give, bro, because you're telling me we got to lose how many more games before we actually get rid of this man?
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, I never want this to be a show where it's like, oh, those guys don't have grace. They're so close-minded. You know, like, they are always complaining and saying this, that, and whatever. But it's not, you know, like we've said, gloves are off, but there's also being realistic on certain things. And so my hope was that we would see a change, you know, because with the changes that we've already had, like a coaching change does ruffle some feathers within the organization, within the team. Then it takes time for them to build that chemistry and start seeing wins and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I look at this season right now, the start of it, similar to the Celtics start of the season last year. There was a lot of hope. It wasn't showing any promise. And the Celtics made a decision to fire their coach and bring on someone else. And they had a great rest of their season. I feel like the longer we keep Tibbs as our coach, the further and further we're getting to where we want to be as a team. Because, like we said, Shea now sees how much we need him. You know, like, all these players are going to see that. We talked the other day about how Embiid apparently was disgruntled, you know, and was considering maybe wanting a trade, stuff like that. We don't have a coach or a front office that sees opportunities like that and actually acts and makes decisions. We sit back for so long and wait. And what happened the other night? Joel Embiid had a career high game, and now he's saying, hey, I really see where this is going now. Like, I really see promise in this, you know? So, like, it's so our team, our coach, everything like that, the Knicks are always standing by. We're going to stand by and wait. And then all we do is show players that we need even more than we first started. And we get ourselves further and further away from where we want to be. So I think there needs to be changes in our coach. There needs to be some changes in the front office. Things need to change. Like DSJ said, we deserve better. That's going to be my hashtag.
That's it. We're starting it.
I'm going to help you trend that. Like it's going to be, sell the team. Like that's an obvious. But
look, I like this one right here. This is so factual. I'll agree with this. The only reason to keep Tibbs a friendly reminder that if the next head coach doesn't get this team to perform, this will be their fate. So I agree and disagree. But he's being a smart ass about it. But it's true. Hey, coach, good news. If you suck at your job, we're proving that we'll keep you as long as possible, as long as the news is reporting on it.
Yeah.
How about
that's so crazy.
Change is delayed because it's admission of guilt by Leon in the front office.
Yeah.
But I mean, Foxy, but now it's at the point where they can't even there's nothing to admit. It's obvious. The world knows. Everybody knows. You're getting booed out of the stadium. Everybody knows it. There's no more hope that something's going to happen with Tibbs. I'm sorry.
So Foxy, you ever see the movie Office Space? That's one of my favorites. And if you haven't seen the movie Office Space, there's a few scenes where he's going around. He's like saying how he has to go to therapy and marriage counseling. And he goes, man, I just feel like my wife's cheating on me. And his two best friends are like, yeah, I know what you mean, man. And he's like, wait, what? And they're like, oh, no, just saying. And then he goes to his neighbor and his neighbor's like talking to him. And he's like, yeah, sometimes I just feel like she's cheating on me. He's like, oh yeah, I get that feeling too. And everybody knows what's happening. So it doesn't matter if he admits it or not, it's still happening and everyone around him knows. So whether Leon Rose wants to admit his faults and his guilt, of the fact that our team sucks because of who he assigned as a head coach, that doesn't mean the world doesn't know. It's on everybody's newsstands right now. Teams that hate New York are loving right now. They are posting the same things we are. So right now, I say, hey, I feel like our coach is cheating on us. He's just not faithful. He's not doing what we need. And so we need to let him go.
We really do. It's so bad. Want to keep going on this topic? Because I mean, I can sit here and argue about Tibbs all day. I'm sorry, let me not use the word argue because no one's here is disagreeing.
No, not at all.
At all.
I want to hear from people in the chat. Like me personally, I see Yoshimoto and Atkinson as stellar replacements. But who else? I feel like the pool is deep because anything's better than where we're at right now. But realistically, who could we get that you guys think would be a sufficient replacement for where we're going as a team? I'd love to hear people's thoughts.
Yeah, because honestly, man, I mean, I know I say it jokingly, but anybody at this point for me, bro. Anybody. As long as Tibbs is gone, anybody. Something has to change. And I think hold on. Hector, Brian Cashman to save the Knicks. Don't you speak that evil over me, Ricky Bobby. I swear to you. Hector, what is wrong with you? You know what? He at the doctors right now. The epidural must have kicked in or something. He's feeling loopy. when he's calling for Brian Cashman, okay? Next thing you know, he's going to be like, you know what? Let's get Aaron Boone to coach. Hector, man, get up. Back away from your cellular device, Hector. Back away. Now, you know what? What do you think about that statement right there?
Which one? Let's see.
Let's not stop with the termination of Tibbs. Leon Rose's seat needs to be equally hot. He don't even have a seat anymore, bro. That thing is burned. It's charcoal at this point. It's charred. That seat is beyond hot. Get that, man. Package them all up and go.
Here's the thing is that there aren't many people that can force the Leon Rose execution of his seat. He's in control. He is, we don't really have much say, much power, anything like that. There's no one above him. However, when it comes to Tibbs, there are people above him. So we can say, hey, people above him, do something. Like, if you're going to be ignorant enough to keep the team, fine. But at least keep the team in a way that grows us and gets us somewhere. Like I saw an article a few weeks back, and they even mentioned Becky Hammon as a potential coach. She's a coach in the WNBA, and they were talking about like how monumental of a thing would it be for the first female head coach to be in the biggest arena in the world and actually see success. And I'm like, why not try it? Like, anything's worth it right now. Like, like she at least has shown that she can win, in a current like league, whether it's NBA or WNBA. Like, I'd rather see if that transpires over here, because we know that his old ways aren't transpiring into the current. So let's move that along and just try something.
Yeah. I mean, look, let's look at a couple of things here. So at this point, just point a fan in the stands and have them coach. Yeah, it's called fan control football. All right, let's reach out to their team, ask them if we can use their app, and we have fan controlled Knicks team because, I would take Dice, Johnny Bryan, Atkinson. I'll take the ghost of George Steinbrenner at this point in time. Yeah, come on, George. Come coach for us, George. I do like the Atkinson play, though. How about New York Originals? That would be dope. Let's get Coach K out of retirement. He knows talent, knows how to coach talent. Boy,
hey, Knicks fans would be happy. You better believe as soon as we say that, like, people are going to start talking about how Zion's coming over. So
yeah, at least then it'll have some basis behind it, right? Instead of everyday articles of Zion.
Yeah, and then we'll definitely get that. It'll be a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing in New York. But yeah. So what else, Jigga?
Well, I was going to say before we wrap up, we've got the Jazz next tomorrow night, right? We're off tonight. I don't even want to give predictions. Like I feel like my time is being wasted talking about anything other than firing Tibbs. Like, if we're not firing Tibbs, then I can't sit here and expect us to win a game at this point. Not after that showing yesterday. It's going to take a lot to restore my faith against the Jazz tomorrow. How you feel about that game?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a scary one. Those guys are playing well together. Like, we are seeing players who kind of were scraps on other team all of a sudden become like this scrappy, like, competitor. I think if we go in feeling as defeated as, like, all of us as fans do, we might as well just, like, send Utah a message and say, hey, call the score however you want. We're going to save our miles and not fly out there. But I'm hoping to at least see an RJ reviving, of him being able to brush it off, because that's going to show the real skill of him as a player, is if he can shake off that game, he can shake off how Tibbs treated him and can still bounce back. One thing I saw here from
I was just about to bring that one. Yep. Yeah.
Like, I've been saying Nash would be good ever since they let him go. And I don't really think that the whole RJ situation would really be an issue, because Nash is such a professional when it comes to the NBA, and he doesn't take, like, that for granted. I don't think that he would play the favoritism. I think we see favoritism now in Tibbs way more than we would ever see.
Yeah, exactly. It shouldn't affect. Yeah, it shouldn't affect. And you know what? Since he's been fired, his TikTok game is strong. So I'm down to bring Nash over, do some marketing for us,
and
coach the team.
He's got a dope shoe company. He's got a dope shoe company, and, maybe we could try to get some sponsorship if he's a Knicks fan, like, whatever we got to do to bring Nash over. I'm down.
Hector said, I may not be on the show, but I got my opinions. Bloodbath. This road trip, we will go 0-5, and Tibbs' last game coaching the Knicks in the Garden comes this Sunday. Oof. Is it so bad? Phil, Knicks universe. Is it so bad that here we are hoping we lose games so we can get our coach out? The reason I'm asking that, Phil, is it goes back to the statement earlier. Above Tibbs, the front office.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it so bad that we have to sit here and hope we lose? Like, it makes me question everything about this front office even more.
It's scary because the lineup that we're going up against in these next 5 games is pretty scary for the start of it. You know, we have Jazz, Nuggets, which I think it's going to be pretty much impossible to beat those two. The Warriors are not even playing that great this season. Like, if you look at their record, they are 5-8. So they're not much better than we are. They're actually like less of a record than we are, but I still think we're going to lose because we have no perimeter defense.
Perimeter D.
And that's all they do. And we have no one that's going to stop Curry, like, from driving either. So, like, that's an unfortunate win because for other teams, they could see that on the schedule and be like, oh, we can currently beat these Warriors, but we can't. And the hardest thing is that 5th game is the Thunder. And if we lose to the Thunder again, the way that we just did, then all hope is lost. Like,
I'm hoping
4 back-to-back and then lose to the Thunder again.
Yeah.
Come on.
At what point can we expect to see some sort of article that comes out that the players called their own players meeting, like someone stepped up to be a leader? Like, because again, we can sit here and put it all on Tibbs, which that's who I'm putting the most on. I don't care. That's where I'm at. But we still got to look at the players as well, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that's what worries me too, is the fact that just last week it was, if they can be competitive and show me that, I'm happy. But now I'm questioning, can we even be competitive with bad teams after the showing that we've had over the last couple of games, right? So, I mean, it's tough. I mean, it's not easy to sit here and say, yeah, we walk away with 2 or 3 wins over these next 5 games. It's more like, man, we'd be happy to pull away with 1. I like Foxy's comment. The only thing I'm looking for over the next several games is getting minutes for Cam and see if he can start showing consistency. I would love to see that. I'm a Cam fan. You know, I would love to see him.
I'd love to see Reddish thrive, and these next few games will show if the inconsistency is because he's an inconsistent player or because he hasn't had a bunch of time yet. Like, so if he plays these next 5 games and he gets his time and we show the improvement, then we're able to say, this is the guy we were hoping for. And if it shows inconsistency over these 5 games, then we have to just kind of accept the fact that maybe he's just an inconsistent player.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it goes back to my biggest issue with evaluating our players right now is I don't feel like we truly can evaluate them right now. When there's no system, when there's no chemistry, when there's no coaching being done the right way, it's hard to sit there. How can you expect them not to be inconsistent when they don't even know what their minutes are, what their rotation is, what their position is, what their role is?
Yeah.
So it's everything is being set back. And we're going to keep beating this dead horse because we have no choice. If we don't fire Tibbs, this is going to be a very, very long season of coverage.
Yeah. You can't.
Here's a high note. You want a high note?
Dysfunction. Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, first, Hector said the IV's kicking in. He's going into his procedure. We're praying for you, bro. We will talk to you.
Best of luck, bro.
I'm done complaining for now. I'll switch over to Twitter and do it there. Everybody in the chat, appreciate you guys. But here's a positive note. Tap in with us this Wednesday as we got our boy Anthony Donahue, Anthony MSG, coming to hang out on the panel this Wednesday morning to talk Knicks. We'll jump into the players. We'll maybe pull away from the Tibbs firing. I doubt it, but definitely want to talk to Anthony. He is one of those guys we talk about that is at every game, that spends that money to be there, that puts his heart and soul into the Knicks. Excited to have him come through this Wednesday on the show with us. You think we're going to get Anthony wild up, or we're going to get that good demeanor Anthony, right? Where Anthony likes to talk through things, you know?
Yeah, I think we'll get both. I think we'll get both. Like, you know,
the Knicks make it easy.
He just finished that marathon, so he's been on a high from that. But I love that he's, you know, he's real about how he feels when it comes to, the Knicks' successes and failures. So I think he's going to line up well with the three of us, and we're just going to have some really, really good conversation. And if there's anything you guys personally would want to hear us like chat about in that episode or in these upcoming episodes, hit us in the DMs, whether it's on Instagram or Twitter. Like, let us know, the kind of conversations that are burning in your mind, and we'll chop it up on those things as well.
Yep. Well, man, bro, I love you.
Love you, bro.
I want to go back to a comment you made earlier before we leave. Don't show any favoritism to either one of my nephews. Love them equally. Okay, thank you. Everybody in the chat, appreciate y'all hanging out with us as always. Of course, Knicks Morning Brew, Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays. Help us grow this thing. We appreciate you guys constantly tuning in. Share our Twitter, share our YouTube, share everything. Share the fact that Phil shows favoritism to his kids. Whatever it takes to help us grow this. Oh, man. Bro, any last comments before we go?
No, man. Let's hope for a win. Let's continue. Those that are content creators, thank you guys. You guys are working hard as well. We see you. We appreciate you. Let's continue to support each other and do what we do as Knicks, which is stay loyal, even when it's hard.
How you doing? On that note, peace. We're out.